Your sky has been officially sold, and you didn't even receive a notification. While you believed in the peaceful exploration of space and read headlines about new Mars rovers, a classified protocol called Aegis orbit went into effect in April 2026, turning near-Earth space into strictly segmented private property. Within a radius of 400,000 kilometers from Earth, all the way to the darkest craters on the far side of the Moon, no man's land and the common heritage of mankind no longer exist. Every Lagrange point, every stable orbital echelon, and every asteroid passing through our planet's gravitational capture now has a legal owner. Let's break down the physics of this process, which is carefully wrapped in the beautiful packaging of flight safety and the fight against space debris. In 2026, the density of satellite constellations in low Earth orbit reached its technological and physical limit, the infamous Kessler threshold. This is the critical point after which any accidental collision between two objects triggers a cascade reaction, turning the entire orbit into an impassable cloud of red-hot shrapnel for hundreds of years. This scientific apocalypse became the perfect legal pretext for introducing the orbital dictatorship. The U.S. Space Force has officially implemented a system of dynamic trajectory quoting. In practice, this means that space has stopped being infinite. It has become a scarce, essential commodity. If your company hasn't purchased a slot at a specific altitude with centimeter precision, your craft is automatically declared a planetary-scale threat and is subject to immediate disposal. The mechanics of this disposal in 2026 aren't the dramatic surface-to-space rocket launches everyone sees on radar. This is the work of silent killers already on combat duty directly over your head. The GSSAP Inspector satellite program has evolved into a full-scale system of active orbital suppression. These machines are capable of silently approaching any unauthorized object and using directed microwave emitters at ultra-high frequencies. One targeted pulse, and the sophisticated electronics of your satellite turn into a useless, melted piece of silicon and plastic. No explosions, no new debris, no evidence of external interference. Space agencies simply state in their reports, sudden fatal failure of onboard systems due to unknown causes. This is how a total purge of the orbit was carried out in 2026, clearing out all independent players not belonging to the closed club of Pentagon-approved contractors. But the true goal of this unprecedented ruthlessness is hidden much higher, in regions ground-based radars cannot reach, the asteroid belt, and key gravitational pockets of the Earth-Moon system. Gold Rush 2.0 is not about prestige. It's about resources whose value exceeds human understanding. A single medium-sized M-class asteroid, such as 16 Psyche, contains reserves of platinum, iridium, and gold, with a market value hundreds of times greater than the total GDP of all countries on the planet. In 2026, the masks were dropped. Whoever is the first to place an automated turret on such an object becomes the de facto master of the global economy for the next century. To exclude any attempted competition, the Heavenly Shield system was deployed. Officially, it was created to protect Earth from meteorite threats, but in reality, it is a system to block any private or foreign attempts at space exploration without a direct license. We are facing a phenomenon of planetary-scale raiding, where ownership is confirmed not by international treaties, but by the power of a combat laser aboard a patrol module. The technical breakdown of the 2026 Heavenly Shield is striking in its cynicism and scale. It is a distributed intelligent network of tens of thousands of small craft, combined into a single swarm. They are equipped with spectral and radar tracking systems capable of detecting the thermal signature of any launch from any point on the globe within 5 seconds of engine ignition. But the real striking power is hidden in the Mjolnir platform, the so-called rods from God. These are tungsten rods, several meters long, dropped from special orbital magazines. Upon re-entering the atmosphere, they reach speeds of up to Mach 12, turning into an unguided meteorite with the precision of a sniper rifle. They have no explosives. They don't need a nuclear payload. They are pure kinetic energy upon impact, is comparable to the detonation of a tactical nuclear charge, but without radioactive contamination. By 2026, the arrival time of such an instrument of democracy has been reduced to 3 minutes. This nullifies the sovereignty of any country that does not have its own orbital interceptor group. If you do not control the space over your territory, your government is merely a temporary administration, working under the aim of a crowbar falling from the zenith. The context of the last 3 years shows how methodically we have been deprived of our right to the sky. First, the idea of universal satellite internet was forced upon us, filling the orbit with thousands of devices that now serve as nodes in a tracking system. Then, strict space ecology standards were introduced, making the legal launch of any private craft impossible without billion-dollar insurance premiums and Space Force approval. As a result, by 2026, the entry barrier to the industry became insurmountable for 99% of the planet's population. Space turned out to be completely leased by a narrow circle of 5 or 6 megacorporations whose interests are inseparable from military programs. Even amateur astronomy is under fire today. New laws on light spectrum protection allow for the remote blocking of private observatories if their data could reveal the true positions of military platforms or mining modules in lunar orbit. You no longer see the stars. You only see the image you are permitted to see through approved apps. The existential horror of this reality is that humanity as a species has lost its cosmic future. We are no longer discoverers. We are tenants in our own home. Everything we allegedly know about the depths of the universe now passes through the rigid filters of those who monopolized the vacuum. In 2026, space stopped being a territory of hope. It became an instrument of total financial and military dominance. You cannot leave the planet. You cannot claim its external resources. You cannot even conduct independent research without the sanction of those who privatized the void itself. Scaling this theme to everyday life, we see how the orbital dictatorship is changing the very structure of human society. The 2026 spy satellites are not just cameras. They are multispectral analyzers operating 24/7. They record not only your movements, but also the chemical composition of emissions from your chimney, the density of crops on your plot, and even the emotional tone of a crowd through micro-fluctuations in skin temperature. Your privacy ends exactly where the direct line of sight of a patrol satellite begins. We have found ourselves locked inside a vast, transparent sphere, closely watched by those who were the first to drive their stakes into orbital soil. The geopolitical subtext of 2026 is the final split of civilization into cosmic elites and terrestrial ballast. If your state does not possess the technology for reusable stages and orbital maneuvering, it officially moves into the category of territories with limited sovereignty. We see budgets for fundamental science and the search for extraterrestrial life being cut to zero in favor of space situational awareness programs. This is an elegant term for orbital blackmail systems. Space in 2026 is not new horizons. It is a new, incredibly expensive, and high-tech chain around the neck of civilization. The philosophical conclusion of this Gold Rush 2.0 is as grim as it gets. The sky no longer belongs to you by birthright. It is digitized, segmented, and weaponized against anyone who tries to break the monopoly. The stars have turned into marketing backlighting for mining platforms, and the cosmic void into the most liquid and inaccessible commodity in human history. We have become hostages on our own planet, over which an invisible but absolutely real and ruthless dictatorship now towers, the dictatorship of those who privatized the right to infinity. The final act of this drama is playing out right now. Every new civilian launch, every new antenna on your roof is just another thread in the web that separates us from true freedom. Space has stopped being a dream. It has become a tool used to force us to look exclusively at our feet, while trillions are being divided over our heads. Are you ready to accept that even your gaze at the sky is now subject to an unspoken tax? What do you think will be the final point of this process? The official transformation of Earth into a planetary reserve, with a total ban on space travel for ordinary people, or an orbital war that will turn all near-Earth space into a dead zone? forever closing our path to the stars? While your opportunity to speak is not yet blocked by the algorithms of orbital censorship, the sky is closed for a technical break. It's time to get used to living in a world where the stars are private property.